To our grand finals here today. Best of 5. This actually sped up a lot. We had like a very slow start to this stream in terms of not, the games were great and the action was awesome, but like the bracket was progressing very slowly and we very quickly caught up to be here now in this grand finals. As in the top left side, our blue Zerg player is RagnaroK, taking on the red Terran in the bottom right, INnoVation. And apparently he wants to try and speed up this grand final as well. Opening with the proxy 2 racks to start off this game number 1. And unfortunately for RagnaroK, his first overlord went up, not down. His second overlord will make its way down. We'll see. Is it rallied anywhere? Where's it rallied to? It's just rallied all the way down here. So it will see the barracks, but probably not fast enough to realistically do much of this. We're going to see the racks going to be finishing up. The second rack's coming through. First Marine already on the way out. Second Marine will start to build very shortly as well. As we do have the SCV of INnoVation going to make his way across in towards the main base here, and towards the natural, I suppose. So moving in towards the natural, we do see again the 2 racks already coming up. Obviously RagnaroK, he actually stopped short, he didn't see this, and he actually doesn't see the bunker either, although I think he saw the SCV. Obviously it's too late for him to really do much. He could pull a few drones against the bunker, but I mean, this is kind of a nice scenario for INnoVation, because what you do here is you just sort of back away. If the drones target fire down the bunker, it's kind of, you're still getting a lot of lost mining time on these drones, and SCV is going to try and help fight. He'll just cancel the bunker. He can rebuild another one. You're keeping the drones off from mining, and again, as far as INnoVation is concerned, that's great. He gets some damage on them. No kills just yet. Now, Ling's on the way out of bunker here. Might be nice. Set up a full wall off. As we do have the Marines still trying to, or thinking about pressing forwards. Here come the Lings. Marines in a good count, though, to kind of just run and kite away at these drones. He might want to take a turn so he doesn't get surrounded. Oh, the drones are going to get the full surround. Oh, but he sneaks out so you can avoid some damage for a little while. Behind this, you need to be killing the bunkers as RagnaroK. We'll see if he is, and he does get the cancels on those. So 6 workers lost, and INnoVation takes a worker lead. The transition setting up with the factory. It's a Zergling-based defense. You'll go into the reactor and the Hellions beyond this. I think INnoVation has done enough to transition away from this. A lot of Lings forced early, a lot of drones pulled off the line, a ton of mineral, mining time lost, and obviously some drone kills on top of it. I think this is just fine for INnoVation. Obviously, RagnaroK already is on 2 bases, and INnoVation still has to get that expansion up. But in general, I think that's still okay, because RagnaroK is really set back from where he usually would be right now. So that's working out nicely, as we do see a starport dropping down to follow up from this, as well as that reactor comes through on the factory to open up the Hellion production also. I'm just going to be seeing the Queen in the main base. That's going to be building up, finishing up very shortly, and still some Zerglings in the center and the front. Also getting ready to come across. One Ling around this top side. Again, starport about halfway done. This rack's going to be coming over, landing in the main very shortly. A couple of extra Hellions popping out in a moment or two, as we do see this command center on the main base going to be finishing up. Again, with these couple of extra Hellions coming into play, we've got a Zergling making its way out and around this right-hand side. So it's going to be coming around to, again, go towards the natural, maybe make its way up in towards the main base. Just going to be seeing these 2 Hellions already coming through, and a Zergling will be picked off. Medevac and a couple of extra Hellions coming into play, and the tech lab on the barracks going to be finishing up to give you access to Stimpak already. I kind of like the Medevac, right? Drop the Hellions by, set up in something that's not super common and can absolutely deal a, a good little bunch of damage in all of this. Hellions back out to the center. Couple of Queens on the way from RagnaroK again. More Zerglings coming into play. Hellions at the front will pick off a creep tumor. And just going to be seeing the orbital command is about to finish up on that natural expansion. So all said and done here, INnoVation's like 5 workers behind. Hellions dropping in the main base, but the Zerglings are here to defend. And whoa, the Hellions actually ran past the Zerglings there. As the Zerglings look for a surround, he'll get 2 drones and just lift and get out. I mean, Hellions get a bit of a beating because they actually take a bunch of damage. The Lings found a surround eventually. As the Medevac comes back out into the center, a few extra Zerglings coming through. Drones on the way up. Baneling Nest on the natural. And it's just about halfway along here as well. And still seeing these 2 Hellions of INnoVation moving to the middle of the map as well. So all of this joining up together, as we do have a few more Marines coming out. Stimpak coming through. And just going to be seeing our Queen still also pressing forward. Is going to try and jump onto the Medevac. It will take a little bit more damage. And command center from INnoVation on the natural expansion as well. So it's going to be our 3cc. Setting up and getting ready to go. Here's our Hellions over to the far left-hand side. A couple extra queens, a few extra drones coming through. Again, going to dive straight in on this and get a few drones from the start. Hellions have to back away once again. 8 more drones now in production. Again, this queen from RagnaroK going to be finishing on the natural. INnoVation setting up 2 more engineering bays in the back of the natural as well. And just going to be seeing still this medevac with these Hellions. Trying to see what will happen. Lair on the way up in the main base. I mean, this is the first push from Inno, and obviously it's kind of a bit of a weird timing because of what happened early, but I think you can generally look at this as being a pretty good push where RagnaroK has no preparation. He's still droning. Now, he actually has a Baneling nest, but hasn't made any Banelings yet. The siege tank will be able to support from the low ground, and, well, 5 Banes on the way now, but these Marines do have stims, so they can kill things pretty quickly here. And these Hellions, no armory, of course. It's too early in the game for that, given the circumstances and the 1-1 timing, but 5 slow Banelings are not going to defend this attack, right? If the micro from INnoVation is good, and right now hitting the Evo Chambers, that even just slows down 1-1 melee upgrades. Slowing RagnaroK down later in the game. Siege tank fire hits the Banelings, hits... Well, all of the Banelings get targeted down. RagnaroK's just going to lose his queens. And now he has to back away and, what, wait for more Zerglings to morph into Banelings? That's going to take an eternity. GG's, and INnoVation is able to take game 1 of this best of 5. I enjoy watching this right now. We'll be back same time next week with Kung Fu Cup number 11. All of these players play. We'll maybe even have a sicker lineup. Maybe Dark will play now that he's out of Super Tournament next week. Actually, that said, next week there's GSL qualifiers, so maybe we won't. Maybe we will, because it'll be day 2 of GSL qualifiers. I think the Kung Fu Cup will run anyways, because the Chinese players will still want to play. But it might not be as sick a lineup because of GSL. But everyone who qualified on day 1 of GSL and in the morning session of GSL is probably still going to be able to play. I actually think it's fine. I think a lot of people will make it home. But sometimes after GSL qualifies, people go out to eat and stuff. Anyways, next week there'll be more Kung Fu Cup. That's the moral of this story in the end, is in the bottom right. Our blue Zerg is RagnaroK, taking on the red Terran top left-hand side INnoVation for game 2 of this best of 5. Setting this up, getting this ready to go. As we do have our Overlord building up here, coming up the right side early on in the game. And looking to see where it can get to. So getting that up and running, as we do have ourselves a hatch gas and pool. Obviously no proxy is wonderful here, means that we might get a bit of a longer game. Of course we might not. Other things can happen than proxy barracks. But a lot of potential, a lot of opportunity, as we do see the Overlord of RagnaroK coming in towards the upper left-hand side. So that's going to be moving across to the upper left. Reaper from INnoVation starting up as well on this main base. So getting that Reaper up and running also. And looking pretty good here. And as we do see the Overlord continues to make its way over. So Overlord to the top left-hand side. Spawning pool will finish from RagnaroK in the main base very, very shortly. This SCV is making its way down to the bottom right. A few more lings, couple extra queens coming up. Reaper through the center of the map. And again, the SCV from INnoVation moving into the top left-hand side. So moving across into this. Going in after the couple of drones. Zergling's dancing around a little bit as well. Just having a little bit of fun here, as you do see. I mean, Ling is really having a fun dance around there. Do you see this queen popping out and able to chase the Reaper forwards? Reactor on the way down on the ranks. Going to see the factory finishing up shortly. Zergling speed again continuing up on the main base, as we do see a third hatchery from RagnaroK will be done very soon. Opens up a little bit more of an opportunity there. Again, that Zergling speed still coming into play. And just going to be seeing our single Marine of INnoVation pressing forwards to just defend against this Overlord if necessary. And again, a couple of extra Hellions coming out. Zergling speed dropping down. And the SCV going to come and build a depot in the front as well. Starport building up is going to be done in a couple of moments. And again, more and more Hellions just continue to pop out right now. Queen setting up on the natural expansion. And the Reaper of Innovation back through to the center as all of this is looking good and standard. It is Nightshade, so always watching for the Terran player taking this forward base and getting that big rally push going. It's something we know INnoVation loves to do. It's something he's done throughout the entirety of his career. I mean, when INnoVation became big, he became big off rally pushing in TvZ at the start of Heart of the Swarm. Like, he was the player to watch out for that kind of style. I mean, this map really lends itself to it. He will open Cloak Banshees, because if it lends itself to rally pushing, it oftentimes lends itself to very aggressive roach attacks coming across the map very early on. So a couple of things to watch out for there in general. As you do see this Cloak coming along about halfway done. Banshee will be finishing up, and again, the couple of Hellions out in the center. Also, as the Marine goes on a bit of a patrol across the edge of the main base, couple of Hellions still coming through. And just going to be seeing the... Again, second Banshee starting, so really it's on INnoVation to deal the damage here early. RagnaroK's not doing much, just looking to defend. Prioritizing his Baneling Nest, and then hence probably his lair as well before we see Evo Chambers. So, going to be working on the Banelings here initially, but being very safe just in case this is some form of like a Hellbat follow-up or so. The Banes will be out to help against that. But it is just pretty much straight up and standard here from INnoVation at the moment. Moves this Banshee out down the bottom. There's the 2 extra engineering bays and a couple of racks in the main base. Factory drops down a reactor in the main as well, so getting that up and rolling as you see this Banshee will cloak up and we'll get a couple of shots on drones, but nothing too crazy. There's a couple of shots on drones. Meanwhile, a couple of extra gases coming up here. Marines will be able to fight back against this Overlord, so that's going to take a bunch of damage. So Overlord will fall, and again, just 1-1 upgrades coming through. So INnoVation looking very comfortable here. Has an extra reactor. I guess the starport can take that, or oh, sorry, that's a tech lab. My bad, I looked at this wrong. So he has a reactor for the starport. Factory goes to a tech lab, so it really looks as though siege tank production and moving into, again, this 8-1-1 big rally push across the map, just consistently pushing over and looking to continue dealing damage as our 1-1 upgrades from RagnaroK coming in on the natural expansion. Again, these 2 Banshees on the far right-hand side. So they will gather up on the far right. A few Hellions in the center, and again, Baneling Nest. Going to get that Baneling speed up and rolling. 1-1 melee still coming through. The 14 extra Zerglings in production. I mean, it's still just... Look at this, and it's very comfortable for INnoVation, right? You know, he doesn't need to deal massive damage here. Obviously, the more drones he picks off, the easier it is going to be to deal damage with the rally push, and he is going to be seeing a Hydralisk Den from RagnaroK, which means that RagnaroK is setting up to have a bit of a sturdier ground army help against what can be that continuous never-ending attack. So seeing a little bit of that right now as a couple of drones going down. Queen going to be picked away at here. Will go down in a moment. Nope, just not yet. Just about surviving for the moment as we do see a few more drones onto this third base. Going to be taking a little bit of extra damage. So 13 workers going down. Again, armory building up from INnoVation in the natural expansion. So getting that up and rolling here. Still some extra Zerglings on the way out from RagnaroK as well at the front. The 4th hatchery building up as well. And again, our 2 medevacs will be making their way forwards out over this far right-hand side. Look to see where it can get to, where it can go. All of these extra barracks from INnoVation coming through at the moment. And again, one single Zergling runs underneath a couple of medevacs. As we do see some Zerglings continue to come up. Marines going to be loading back up into this medevac. He's going to lose a medevac full of Marines. That's a big loss for Inno. Because it's kind of a fight that he shouldn't really lose anything in. That's the whole point of dropping at this stage of the game. You're just sort of applying some pressure and you're picking up what you can, but not losing anything, because then you want everything together for that big, large push that comes through in the end. That's going to be seeing a couple of Hellions hitting here, and the Zergling's already taking some serious damage. Two upgrades still coming in. Combat shield starting on the barracks as well. A couple of changes out over to the right-hand side. And again, this Banshee of INnoVation making its way through the south. As we will have the, again, couple of drones starting to go down already. Groove Spine's on the way up on the Hydralisk Den. Still, again, the changes as well coming into the side. Infestation Pit dropping down in the main base from RagnaroK. So again, that Infestation Pit up and running. Zerglin still coming through. A couple of Hellions picked off real nice and quickly there. And again, RagnaroK will make his way forwards with the rest of this Lingbane Hydra army. Making its way out into the center. So still setting up. A couple of creep teamers setting up right now. And Again, just going to see the bio army, Marines and tanks getting ready. I mean, it's that stage where 2-2 is going to kick in, and that's when INnoVation's looking to push. He did end up taking 2 extra gases on his natural, and I do wonder a little bit as to what he wants to do with those. 15 Marines building at a time, and he's not really, well, he's not sieged up or anything here. I've got no idea what he's doing, just not expecting RagnaroK to attack so aggressively. Now off creep, he's going to try and drop some tanks down, soak up some of these Banes. Oh, the tanks on the other side of the wall are actually very smart, as he will get the siege here, and maybe RagnaroK chased just a little bit too far. Yeah, these tanks on this side are real smart. Banes can't crash into those. They will siege up safely. A few lings in the mineral line, and INnoVation is not realizing it. This is so easily dealt with, but now he's lost 9 workers from it. It'll make that 11. Those few Zerglings absolutely paying for themselves, as INnoVation had to run all the way back up his ramp towards his natural expansion in this. Now some extra Banelings morphing in, so those are going to be setting up. Marines already stimming forwards. A few Zerglings going down. All of these Banelings being picked away at for the moment, and onto the creep spread here. A couple of scans and already some extra creep going down as well. Well, just going to be seeing the rest of this from RagnaroK wanting to run up this ramp. Marines not split up just yet. Tanks not sieged. Multiple times RagnaroK is catching INnoVation a little bit off guard, but INnoVation splits are still just about in time. He's got to push so deep on the creep here to do anything. He's lost his siege tanks, which means he loses a lot of the position he can hold. It's not a great time for a lag spike as INnoVation's looking to take an important fight. Lings counterattacking and dealing with reinforcements. A lot of Banelings here not ready yet, but the few Banelings that are will buy the time. For the rest that are morphing, I think INnoVation on creep here is going to have a really tough job. Here comes some extra Banelings coming through, but maybe not enough for RagnaroK as INnoVation still stimming in. Those Banelings go down. The Hydras won't hold on their own. Oh, RagnaroK is just streaming anything and everything that can spawn, but it's not working, and now a siege tank joins the fray as well. Target firing down Queens and Hydras. RagnaroK's army supply just is not recovering. 16 SCVs went down across the map. INnoVation can't keep this up forever, but for the moment, he is still dealing damage. I mean, the last few of these Zerglings streaming in will finally maybe push this back. As INnoVation regathers more units, will RagnaroK be able to hold off another wave? He has a ton of gas in the bank, obviously waiting to morph in Banelings at a point where you can actually get the Banelings out. A siege tank siege, and I think that's Banelings going to be cancelled. He transfuses a Baneling in the front. Drones are going to pull in. RagnaroK can afford to lose some of these if it helps him to survive. It just doesn't feel like he has enough. The Bane's still rolling in. Marines from INnoVation taking that damage full on. Doesn't really mind so much. As we're going to be seeing the Hydra still fighting. The rest of these Marines still stimming through. A couple of Lings going down. Hydra still taking some damage. The tank from INnoVation trying to siege up once again, but the Hydras will continue to fall. 21 drones going down. I mean, that number just keeps decreasing, and just going to be seeing INnoVation now has army and even the worker count in his side. I mean, 40 to 59, but he's also in a position where obviously, you know, 71 to 17 army supply. Numbers are reversed. GG, and INnoVation takes a game. Down 0-2 and just not holding on in that last game. Our blue Zerg player, it is RagnaroK. And the upper right, our red Terran is going to be INnoVation here as we enter game 3 of this best of 5. Can he just close this out? It would be his 8th ever weekly Kung Fu Cup victory, opening the gap between him and Cure by an extra win. I feel like this is a really fun storyline to follow each week because these guys are just on fire in these events. INnoVation shows up, he wins, he makes himself some money. It's kind of crazy to watch. Like, he's been slaying it in these events, and this year especially. Maybe not so much as Cure this year, but he really killed it in previous years as well, and he still has a couple wins of finals. I mean, he never lost in a finals of a Kung Fu Cup until he lost to Cure a couple of weeks ago in the finals, and that's kind of insane. Obviously, he's lost before the finals before, right? But kind of insane, as we do have the SCV making its way down to the bottom side of the map. Just going to be seeing the CC on the natural expansion then as the Reaper from INnoVation moving out into the center. So Eternal Empire for our third map here, and can RagnaroK find something? I mean, if you're looking for that big macro game where the Terran will struggle to rally across and reinforce, this is kind of the map for that, right? You know, this is kind of the map to do this on, as we do see the Reaper will continue down to the lower left-hand side, moving in towards the natural expansion. Just going to be seeing the first Zergling or so taking some damage. The Reaper going to turn around, and again, a couple more Zerglings being picked away at. So a little bit more damage being done. Queen pops out, and the Reaper will get pushed away. Factory dropping down in the main base in the meanwhile, and the command center on the natural expansion too. So again, setting up in towards this Reaper just hanging out the front, and just going to be seeing the Overlord here of RagnaroK moving its way through the bottom side of all of this. Again, factory is in the back of the main, so that's going to be a second factory already from INnoVation now. We saw on this map some players liking to proxy the factory, right? Like hide it around up here and go for that blue flame. This just in the back of the main is kind of a way to do that as well, but Overlord speed should get the scout if RagnaroK is thorough with his scouting, because you're oftentimes looking to the back of this main base to see an armory, to see a fusion core, etc. So it's not somewhere that is not going to be scouted at all, right? It's somewhere you generally are going to look to at some stages, RagnaroK. As you do see this factory finishing up, and it will drop down a tech lab. So again, that tech lab up and running. The couple Hellions and the Reaper joining in and going towards the watchtower. And is again going to be pressing through and going to be seeing the Reaper wanting to come forwards. A couple of Queens going to inject onto the third base already. And again, the Reaper and the couple Hellions back around through the top side. Infernal Pre-Igniter on the way at the moment, as we do just see the Viking on the way out. A Marine pushing this Overlord down through into the natural expansion as well. We have got our Zergling speed from RagnaroK setting up in the main base. As again, Reaper and a couple of Hellions out on the watchtower, and just going to see this Marine going to push the Overlord up into this high ground here. Again, a few of these Hellions join up together. The Viking is going to fire and kill this off, so Overlord will fall. It's going to be Infernal Pre-Igniter then, so that is the commitment here from INnoVation. And RagnaroK didn't see it, so the scout does miss the factory, and that is huge. Not figuring this out. Now, there's other things you can see, but now the Viking is zoning the next Overlord away. If RagnaroK has nothing here, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Against Blue Flame Hellbats, he's got Banelings coming up, so if you can get to a few Banelings, then brilliant, but the armory is done way before the Baneling Nest, plus the Banelings have to morph in once that Baneling Nest finishes up, of course. As you do see the Hellions join up together, ready to push up this ramp in towards the third base. The Viking from INnoVation coming back across to this right-hand side. Joining up with these Hellions, which have morphed into Hellbats here, so INnoVation coming up. Already getting a Viking firing away onto this Overlord, so some good damage being done there. And again, the rest of these Hellbats coming through and actually taking some shots. A few drones still pulling away to the upper left-hand side. Queen's already in some trouble, as we will be seeing the Hellbats still pressing forwards. These few extra Banelings morphing in. Zergling's coming in for a bit of a surround too. I mean, the Banelings just aren't ready yet. Can the Queen somehow hold on? More Banes trying to morph in the front. He does get a couple. Oh, they're so close to getting big connections, and they do. The Zergling's got a surround to stop all of those Hellbats splitting away. So the Lings gave up their life for that. As now a second medevac gets targeted down right away. That's a mistake from INnoVation. Only a couple of Hellbats left here, and this medevac is just escaping with one Hellbat inside. I think that's a hold from RagnaroK here. And it's a defense, and INnoVation will start Stimpack behind this. He's going to play in towards Bio. He might just play like a Bio Hellion timing to follow this up, like a Marine Hellbat timing or something. Because he's still producing Hellions as well, and they will still have Blue Flame. If RagnaroK wants to keep on playing a, Lingbane style, they would still work pretty well. Wow, what a hold. I mean, those few Lings getting this around and kind of keeping those Hellbats, compacted in. So the Banelings could hit in the center. That is absolutely huge. Like, that is critical. That's absolutely massive. As now these few Hellions of INnoVation gather up on the bottom side of this. A couple Hellbats will load up and boost out in the center. Viking from INnoVation loads up into the natural. You do have this Overlord in the high ground as we see the Hellions still pressing forwards. Oh, so, I mean, a few Hellions getting turned away at the moment here. The medevac out to the left-hand side. 1-1 upgrades, Baneling speed, all of this coming through. Just going to be seeing a couple of extra creep tumors out the front. More of the creep up the top side as well. And again, two Hellbats inside the medevac to make its way over towards this natural expansion. We do have Hellions morphing in down here as well, and they will, okay, doesn't even try to keep the hatch alive. Knows it's just going to fall. It's kind of weird because, as INnoVation, you're kind of wanting to build roaches because then your Marine Marauder tank force behind it's going to be great. But if he does keep building Lingbane, in the end, it's going to be better for RagnaroK, all things considered, because, Lingbane's a better composition to really fight against the Bio, which is what INnoVation follows up with. Starting to clean this up, and Hellion's getting pushed away by Queens now, and I think the Hellion pressure really is coming to a close. Obviously, he's stopped building Hellions at this stage. He's actually gone into Tech Labs. Well, actually, he builds a reactor on this factory. He could go drilling claws and mines if he feels like it's going to be Ling Bane Muta, which it will be. That's not a bad way to do this. Obviously, he does have double factories, so you can drill and claws up on one, build Thors out of that Tech Lab as well, and then obviously get some extra Widow Mines rolling from the reacted factory too. There's a couple ways to do this, I suppose. Extra Banes on the bottom side. Hellions on the left as they're going to be coming along, and a couple of Zerglings already being picked off. Zerglings coming around and going for the surround on this. Just shut down these Hellions. Nice pull back to minimize the splash damage taken, and one final Hellbat will be cleaned out. Now let's have a little bit of a recap of resources lost. It's not that bad for RagnaroK. Only 500 resources down, and he's never really been at like a huge income disadvantage or anything, so he's actually okay. You know, he survived into the Ling Bane Muta versus Bio stage of this game, and that was always going to be the difficulty off of this early attack and the follow-up potential that INnoVation held. Right now, Marines and Medivacs coming down this right-hand side, ready to push in towards this creep spread here a little bit. More creep of RagnaroK pushing forwards. Queens are going to drop these creep teamers down, and just going to be seeing an extra supply depot or two to finish walling this off. Marines, Medivacs pulling back. We'll see those Medivacs loading up and pulling away to the top side of this, so they're going to escape up the upper right-hand side. We do see the Thor from INnoVation on the way in the main base here, and just going to be seeing, again, Marines, Hellbats, all of this joined up together. As we'll see the Marines unloading from these Medivacs and just pulling back home, as we do see a Thor on the way out, a couple extra missile turrets coming through, Hellbats and Marines, all of this still building. With the Infestation Pit from RagnaroK starting in the main base, we also have the Mutalisks from RagnaroK making their way up to the top side. A few Zerglings hanging around on the watchtower. Rest of these Marines coming from INnoVation as well, able to turn the Mutas back out into the center of the map here, so going to be able to set that up. 2-2 upgrades coming in from INnoVation, as mentioned before. That will be an advantage for him, so that's definitely something that will help out. Still just going to be seeing a couple extra Hellbats coming through. A Thor on the way from INnoVation in the main base. We do see the Mutalisks trying to move through. Marines taking a little bit of damage. Couple Hellbats, Marines, Medivacs, all of this joined at the front. More Ling Bane up to the top. As we do see the fourth base from Inno just coming into the forward position. I mean, really just aggression, right? Wants to push forwards from here into this creep spread. Obviously, dealing with these kind of counterattacks is one of the big issues with this, but tank coverage really helps a lot, and it's actually the perfect squadron of units to really defend this. Now these units coming along this side, INnoVation sees it coming because of the watchtower. No Banes there, but it's still not an army you want to flank in on you when you're pushing into this set of Banelings down on the bottom side. RagnaroK having that 5-base setup now, and, well, no actual siege tanks over on this side, so there's no splash damage. Using the Hellbats and the Thor to try and tank some of this damage. Now reinforcements coming over. The last few Banelings will go down. They just don't roll fast enough off of creep spread to reach those Marines. And INnoVation's able to come through into this now. Going to be able to take his way onto the creep spread. Again, a few extra Banelings being picked off as they try to morph, so it gives INnoVation a strong position here. Marines going to be coming through and fighting against those few Mutalisks already. Again, a couple of Hellbats leading the charge, Marines in the front, and RagnaroK, he just traded a little bit too badly there. 2-2's about to finish up for him to help. He's trying to use the Mutas to counter, but he actually loses a couple of them. Not too many. He never had a crazy Mutalist count to begin with. Was instead interested in getting the Hive up, and now he's going into Vipers, which just aren't here yet. Theoretically, I mean, it's only a couple of tanks. There's not that much splash damage in all of this, so once the tanks go down, Ling Bane should be pretty good to continue through against this. I mean, a couple of Widowmines set up, but he blows them up. So now RagnaroK maybe he has done enough. The Mutalist count's still not crazy, so the Medivacs will be able to pull away without too much trouble. However, the Marine count, is it good enough to fight against these Lings? Yes, it is. With that many Medivacs especially, the healing is insane. And RagnaroK takes a step too far forwards. And now he should have already been back here. He should have already had these Banelings setting up and getting ready to go, but he did not. Obviously, that's the issue, is the Marines stim in. Clean. Going to take a little bit of damage. The rest of these Marines going to be backing away. Marines and a Thor setting up. A few more Medivacs joining in together. And we'll see a few of these Zerglings setting up in the bottom right-hand corner as well. Creep teamer from RagnaroK still setting up at the front. Marines and a Widow Mine coming through too. A lot of this building up right now as the couple Hellbats getting on top of this Extractor. Blings, Banes, Mutalisks, and even the Vipers here, but at this point, I guess the Vipers want to try and... I mean, you can Blinding Cloud mid-fight to try and make the Marines derp forwards. Blinding, I mean, honestly, just actually, what was that? Ducked. I was going to say maybe a Parasitic Bomb would have been good considering the amount of medevacs. There's a lot to be killed there. RagnaroK is not winning these fights, though. He does kill 17 SCVs, a Bane run by behind this attack, but it's the problem of surviving the here and the now. And the here and the now is INnoVation is on top of this creep spread, on top of this base with Marines to spare, and INnoVation is dominant here in these matches today, actually. I think every series we saw from him, he was absolutely the dominant player. You know, I think Q put up the best fight, but that was about it. And INnoVation takes this 3-0 over RagnaroK in the grand finals. As crazy as that is, INnoVation will be your victor of the Kung Fu Cup today against a RagnaroK who's been looking so very good lately, but INnoVation is just absolutely